and welcome back. This is Stripping It Right Back, part 10. So yes, this ghost that I have been alluding to throughout, I want to talk a little bit about the ghost now. So hopefully, if you've taken in what I've said throughout, you will have a more complex idea of what's going on in your head from a systemic point of view, from an abstract point of view. The idea that we're all prescribed to ascribe to the square in the same way, to the cube in the same way. We're all designed to square our minds up around fixed inferences and axioms in the same way. That's the point. So you can all ascribe to that because you're all prescribed to ascribe to the accords of that fact and so on. And we understand this because we can organize or internalize around it, because we can contextualize it. We can contextualize, which is a mode. We can move into it, extend into it, and expand into the context of it. Modes in play. All a priori modes in play, pure a priori modes in play, and they're all pure because they are prior to ego. I'm only ego when I engage with ego. I'm only tasting ice cream when I engage with that fact. When I'm watching a movie, it's because I engage with that fact. When I engage with the idea of me sitting and dancing and loving and walking and playing and so on out here in this experiential realm, I'm engaged through ego. But when I disengage from ego and just engage with the a priori plays of my own mind, okay, or the a priori interplays in the abstract symmetrical sense, well, I can start to see a clear picture of myself in that abstract mirror. So think about that. Become mindful of that mirror now, okay, because I've been talking about constant geometry, that we can't place ourselves out here, but there's something in us that can place that fact, okay? So what is this thing, this symmetrical thing that can place that fact, okay? Well, for me, that is the ghost. But why is it a ghost, okay? Why isn't it just something that accords to man and we are just monumentally brilliant, transcendental creatures that can think with that kind of scope and scale? It's because that kind of scope and scale is outside of us, because it can't place us, it can't fix a predicate, the body, to anything out here in the world of matter and so on, and anything in the experiential realm. It can't predicate it, so it can't premise it. We can premise it in an idealistic way. Ideally, I'm seeing you. Ideally, you're hearing me. Ideally, I see color and all that. Ideally, but like I said, you can't give it a constant geometry. So it doesn't hold. It doesn't hold to any kind of first order predicate, any kind of first order contingency. We know that to be the case, and that's a very complex case to know. So what is in us that is knowing that fact? Okay, why is that the ghost though? Well, I believe this ghost, first of all, has been evolving, okay? That's why we understand the concept of evolution. This thing itself, whatever it was, whatever consciousness is in the most absolute purest way, okay? We have to build a bridge into it. I'm at the interface of the door into it. All of this abstract is the key that unlocks that door, okay? It allows the phenomenological mind to move into the complex ontological glove, okay? We move into the structure. We move in through structure along inferences and axioms, okay? And that's what guides us. Anyway, so why is this thing within us? Why does it have such transcendental scope and scale? Anyway, like I said, I believe it has been evolving in us because it is us. We are just a conduit. It knows that. It knows the concept of conduit because it can conduct itself, okay? But more to the point, the a priori modes of thought are God size, ghost size, okay? They give us a complete spectrum of things around in an abstract sense, okay? But that's all we can see through is the abstract lens, okay? So this is all we are. We either know ourselves in an abstract sense or we don't know anything, okay? So in the abstract pond, let's put the picture together now. Let's put the picture of the ghost together. We can ask ourselves certain questions of it. Why are there God size a priori modes built in? And let me explain what I mean by God size, okay? If this thing exists and it's the formulaic animal in the machine, that's what I like to call it actually, the ghost. It's something formulating itself, Obviously it's more than a machine, but just to use that metaphor. There's something inside it all, within, that's trying to formulate its positions and know itself, okay, around a bed of fixed inferences, okay? Now, to know itself complete, to know itself with a constant geometry, it would have to know what a constant geometry was. That's axiomatic, and it does, okay? You can find symmetry with it. It would have to understand in a transcendental sense that it can transpose itself into the symmetry of that geometrical fact, okay? And it can. That's axiomatic. It understands axioms, okay? Now, let's just keep going with this, okay? God size, ghost size concepts, okay? If this thing is the thing in itself and it wants to know itself as a complete tautology, as a complete unit, it wants to know itself for its own contained unit, okay? It will need to understand itself through axioms, and it will need modes such as evaluation, okay? Evaluation is a tool, okay? It can be, what we evaluate today will be the same tool we use to evaluate tomorrow. In a million years' time, whatever we know, however complex it is, it'll be because we use this a priori mode to evaluate it. So the ghost within has always been evaluating, coming up through the conduit, conducting itself, okay, evaluating itself through chimp. Evaluating itself through chimp, okay, navigating its way through chimp. Navigation too is a God-sized mode, because God, or the conscious ghost, would only need one mode of navigation to navigate itself. It doesn't need a second version of navigation, okay? So this is fit for purpose. All of these modes are fit for purpose in relation to the ghost finding itself. That's the point, okay? So think about that, become mindful of that. It's a very complex soundbite, isn't it? But you can become mindful of that, okay? And this is prior to ego, because this has nothing to do with ego. Understanding the mind in a systemic way, looking at it in such a systemic way, it has nothing to do with dancing and eating ice cream and playing music, okay? This is just a system, the engine of itself, unto itself, and so on, that we are contextualizing here with great depth, with great scope and scale. And if you can countenance this, if you can concur with me, we'll just think about the scope and scale you are transposed into of your own accord, okay? You are transcendentally this big. This is the volume of self, okay? The volume of self. We have to understand the ghost would have to understand the volume of self. The ghost would have to have the mode of unification built in, because if it arrives someday at its own constant geometry, it'll have to be able to unify that position, it'll have to be able to square up that configuration, it'll have to be able to it'll have to be able to institute itself cognitively by the constitution of that composition, and so on. And all of these modes are in play. The same modes that allow us to play chess, the same modes that allow us to evaluate 1 + 1 = 2 and aggregate the two parts as two aggregates, and turn them into a whole, to unify, to complete. Okay, so this mode has been in ape, okay, navigating, coming forward, okay. It has been in early man, it's in man today, creating alphabets, okay, correcting its mind around different geometries, okay, organizing its internal eye. The eye to organize will always be in play. The ghost will have to organize itself. So you can see what I mean, because I'm just running with these thoughts. Free flow, the ghost is free flow through me, okay. I cannot place myself, okay. Out here I am this thing called Yap. But this, in an a priori sense, is what I am, the ghost in the machine, the formulaic animal, saying hello on this day, new paradigm. Anyway, so that's why I believe it to be the ghost. I believe I'm a pantheist. I believe the ghost is a kind of conscious mycelia in all of us, okay? And it wants to talk to itself, okay? It wants to start mirroring itself, okay? I want to see me and you and me, because this is what we are. So anyway, I hope you can get a complete sense of this, okay? I'm just streaming, okay? And it's not egocentric, it's ghost-centric, okay? That's the point. This is not egocentric, it's ghost-centric. I didn't write the a priori modes of reality, okay? I didn't create an I in the whole field of thought that can systemize itself, topologically speaking, by transcending itself and transposing itself into all the different variables and inferences and axioms of reality, okay? So become mindful of that. Become mindful of what I've laid down. Become mindful of yourself in relation to ego and disengage from it. Become mindful of yourself as the ghost, okay, coming up out of the dark at long last. Peace and love and logic, and thank you for listening.